believe we are live. So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you for being here again. A new version of you, yet all of the versions you've been. Now, in this moment. Thank you. I'll be back in a second. I'm gonna go get my water bottle quickly. I seem to have left it, but I'll be getting it very soon. Check you again in a moment, dear friend. Love you. Some more things to get quickly. Have you here again, dear? We're gonna talk about who you've been. Of you that you've been isn't gone, but is in fact here now. You know, you technically encapsulating all of the versions of you that you've been. Russian dolls all the way down, all the way up, all the way deep, all the way far out. You now. Today's topic is inspired by our beloved toast. It's nice to have you friends here. Dear Shan and Jovan, dear Joy Viv, even Joe Schmo. Are we live? We are. We're here now. Is it now? I think it's now. Yeah, smells like now. Tastes like now. Feels like now. Looks like now. Sounds like now. Trying to remember all of the senses that human beings have. Joy, it's nice to have you here. I'm feeling great on this rainy day. Lucky. I would already like some more rain on this side as well. Send some of it this way. Thank you for joining us here, dear Shan. No, we're not live yet, jumping. Maybe it was lagging a little bit. People all yesterday, super fun. But I'm spent. I'm sorry to hear that, Joy V. Rest. Smells like now, dude. Smells like now, huh? All of the versions you've been. Just think about that. Like, just if I say, you 10 years ago, all of this information coming back to you. You 20 years ago. You're like Melt, I'm like 19. Fine. You 15 years ago, whatever, as a 4-year-old. What was that like? What do you think about the world? What was your interpretation of yourself? And realizing how that is still you. That version of you is still very much you now. My sister just shared an interesting thought as I was telling her what the stream topic was about. She told me that not only are these versions inside of you, but sometimes they can make decisions as you, for you. Where you have this 12-year-old version of yourself that might be a little bit compulsive, that might be do things for the wrong reasons. And if given too much rain, can make decisions that can bring you pain. And to just, instead of ignoring these parts of ourselves, instead of pretending like we're not them, to acknowledge them, to see them for what they are, to see them for the purpose that they served in the moment that they were, alive within. And to see how, if it wasn't for that version of ourselves, we wouldn't be who we are right now. Realizing that we get to choose who we want to be. Doesn't always feel that way. We can't necessarily choose our circumstances or the people within our circumstances. But we can always choose how we want to be within those circumstances. And it feels, especially to me these days, as if this essence of urgency in me. This two friends watching right now, just nice synchronicity to share. You know, like, am I am I too much? Do I expect too much? You know, like if and it's coming from this perspective of all of the versions of you that you've been. You know, if you've been all of these versions, if you spend all of this time learning things in a certain way, and you continue to perpetuate a certain set of mistakes, you know, and mistakes are relative as well. We can call them patterns, you know, a set of patterns that we keep inducing onto ourselves, and then as a result of this pattern, we suffer. And then we do that over and over and over and over again, expecting something to be different, you know, expecting the pattern to somehow change us, or within the pattern for something to change. But you're that change. You are perpetually that change, and yet you cannot escape the change that you've gone through, where you're still the same versions of yourself. You know, and I'm thinking about it from this perspective of how, even though I am this version of myself right now, the things that previous versions of myself used to do, you know, especially like in my personal experience, it's anger, where I have to face anger a lot. I have to get angry and then remind myself of why getting angry isn't helpful. And I have to almost work on silencing, melting away on brand, yeah. Melting away this anger that comes up, you know, from time to time. Reminding myself that love is true. All the versions of me, all the versions of you. What is our intention for that? Okay. It's not exactly what I usually do, but I'm going to put a circle within a circle. Kind of looks like a donut, but it's supposed to represent an infinite set of itself. Infinity 1 equals 0, infinity equals 0. Infinity curves onto itself, infinity is small, infinity is nothing, infinity is everything, infinity is infinitely large. A trip to infinity. Netflix, dudes. I think it came out today or something, or yesterday. Felt way too trippy. Felt way too synchronous. It's almost like we are, as a collective, waking up to the infinite nature of things. You know, realizing that within the infinite nature of things, we are, and that there is infinite versions of ourselves, all the way down, Uncle Becky. Right? Like I'm thinking about, just as I see your name, I instantly think about that version of you who did the thing. You know, drank some tea as a young man. I'll say it. I'll say it with so many words. Right? That version of you is still very much you, Uncle Becky. It's forever there with you, a core central theme within your life now. And yet, everything that you've been afterwards, everything you've done, the kids you've had, the jobs you've had to work, the financial abundance that you had to manifest into your life, into the lives of your family, all of the things that kind of went along with that, also you. Yet, this version of you, not larger, not smaller, but there, just so presently there. It's a whole trip, dude. Heather's here too, even Radler, friend of mine. Thank you to see you. It's nice to have you friends here. I have a few more runes to add. Okay, I'll add this one too. One more. The warrior. Yeah, yeah. Looks like a mushroom. Or like an update. I've been holding the gifts a lot. The gift of fire is the end of the warrior? Hmm. Is it? I mean, fire in a way allowed us more abundance, which could inevitably lead us to technology. Technically, fire is technology. Maybe sitting around fires allowed us to communicate, the flames, teaching us things, stimulating our minds with the right? And then eventually we have these pieces of technology, technically a grand extension of that technology. And in doing so, we could make the role of the warrior, at least the traditional, go out and murder other people, warrior. We have made that model obsolete by gifting humanity fire. Thank you, friends, for gifting me yours, for giving me some of your fire of consciousness. It has steered my life indefinitely, and it will continue to. You know, even though you're not that, you've grown so much, it still very much is you. It's so nice to have you here, with the bear. Love you too, Rambler. Heather, thank you for sending love in every direction. I hold that little boy very close to my heart. He would be nothing without fire. We'd still be caught in clubs. Exactly, dude. Exactly. And now we're coming together, you know, to burn as a community that bonfire of love. Everybody can bring their torches in, light them, take it into the world with them. Does now smell like Team Spirit and carrots. Thank you, Joshua, for sending love right back. Kayana's here too. Melt, where did you get your pants? I got them in China, actually. They were like 50 RMB a pop, which is like 100 rand, which is like $6, $6, $6 for every pair of pants. And I got a few of them, but they're not made of good material. You know, like you'll see, like one of my pants had like a big ass rip in the ass, but I still wear it because it's pretty. I would like to make stuff like this as well, but only when I can do so efficiently and it can be high quality. You know, hemp products in time. In time, we're just trying to figure out the tech right now. Really, we're like 100 years behind. Fortunately, we can do some leapfrogging with our amount of technological advancement right now. Is that a jumping jack I see? Hey, all my melt friends. Watch over on the YouTubes now because it runs way smoother. But I wanted to stop and spread a little bit of love to the place where it all began. Hugs and shiny fruit. Dude, weirdly enough, jumping jack, I've been thinking about shiny fruit a lot, dude. I've been thinking about shiny fruit from this perspective of the human condition and how we're likely to grab something closer to ourselves from this perspective of it's better because it's closer. How we can rationalize it being better because it's closer. And how we're now living in an age where technically everything is infinitely close and yet ethereally far. You know? Like I can in a moment go and Google. Okay. I switched it over to the data. Of course, the Reddit is gonna be wrecked, but at least we're still live on YouTube. Rudo, Rudo, Rudo. I denk ook zo, ja. I'm so sorry. I have one of those little sticky out skin bits next to your fingers. You were like, thank you, Mel. I'm sorry. Our Wi-Fi is still a little bit spicy. We're still dealing with some technical difficulties. We're going through this week where yeah, like the battery system is on its way. We're still waiting. Things follow Africa time here in South Africa, so it takes a little bit longer than it's supposed to sometimes, but soon, soon this will no longer be any part of our mental energies. We won't have to think about it, but it will be a part of us forever. It will forever inform us. Every single time we won't have to worry about the internet. It will send us into the opposite direction of hope, of feeling good, of being excited about just having connectivity. Come on, come on, come on, come on. What's the intention on the outside? Uh, layers. I'm just gonna add layers. Oopsie. That's the worst S I've ever made. Layers. Circles within circles within circles within circles within circles within circles. Spheres within spheres. It's all about your point of view. How big the sphere really is. If you find yourself smack dab in the middle of the sphere, you could conceive that it's infinite in every single direction. Never hitting the end of the sphere, but instead circling right around to where you originally started. Infinite, yet finite. inconceivably large, yet only for our perspective. You know, the fact of our brain size, the fact of our current experience as we are, the fact of how many versions of ourselves we've been, in order to be this version of ourselves again. All of this plays a role. Plays a role in who you are right now. And it continues to. There's so many layers to you. So many freaking layers. It's it's kind of trippy, and it's trippy to me in this perspective of I can't know. It makes me feel smaller and smaller. The more and more of you friends I see, the smaller I feel, and the more I realize how large we are as a collective. The amount of mental energy alone, like it's so trippy, and how much mental energy is being spent on. Let's just call it attention. You know, let's just call it attention. No matter what you're paying attention to, that there is so much mental energy being spent on the cultivation, the attraction of attention. And the fact that you friends are willing to give me even a moment of that, it's truly a blessing. Okay. I was about to say something's wrong with my comments. I refreshed them and they seem to be working now. Okay, Anna, again, love. Carrots and oats, bold choice there, Shan. It's a crazy thought, too. All of the versions of you outside of you, the mini perspectives when a passerby only gets a glimpse of the you that you are. What a beautiful thing that is to bring into our minds as well. I believe what our beloved Jovan is saying, that not only is there this version of you, right, that you identify with as self, as in if you were to look at a photo of a bunch of people in it and you happen to be in that photo, you would be like, that is me, right? And then to realize that not only do you have that conceptual level of yourself, but that you have all of these levels of me that you've identified with. That in that photo, maybe it was taken 10 years ago, even though you would point at it and say that is me, you are not the same person that you were. You're not the same person that you're pointing to as me. And then the third layer that our beloved Javan brought to our minds is the fact that there is a layer of me that isn't you, that you perceive me as a version of myself, and that for every single versions of you, there is a perceived version of me, right? That I don't necessarily have those versions of me inside of me. I have those versions of me outside of me in you. And how technically that is also me, but not. What a trap. Thank you, Champagne. That's beautiful. Ah, infinities. So many infinities. Oh, I'm so sorry, Reddit friends. Sayness here too. So much love to you. Damn, Joe. My awakening brain can't handle the fractal yet, right? Joy Vive? That's a lot. That really is a lot. Sayna, beautiful friends. Holy moly. Look at the beautiful people. Hello, mountain friend. Sam. So nice to have you here again. Thank you, dear friend. It's nice to see you. I don't know how long Cable can't be calling me now, fam. I'm sorry, dear friend. I'm sorry. Okay, does he know I'm streaming right now? We do stream at the same time. Same big. Missed you yesterday, Sam. Thank you, Joy, for sending that love. We did. So nice to have you here today, friend. Joy, shredded carrots, and a handful of baby spinach of an overnight oats. That actually does sound nice, to be completely honest, Shan. Joy, Veep, and Joe and Shan. Good morning. Yes, Sundays are errand day, and I had breakfast with my in-laws to get to the before the cafe filled up. Love to you, dear Sam. Thank you, friend. We just want you to know that you are missed and so dearly loved when you are here now. Having been the version of you that you had to be yesterday, still being the same you that you are today, yet not being that version of you that you were yesterday. Being informed by the version of you that you were yesterday so that you can be more fully you now. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Start the day off good, Joy. That is the way it is, right? All of this mental energy, it's like tunes into the Meltmore stream, suddenly has 50,000 things to think about. Thanks, Melt. I thought I was just gonna have to be concerned with what I'm gonna eat this morning, but now I have to contemplate the meaning of the universe. Great. Forgiveness does not change your past, but it does enlarge the future. Ooh, I like that, Sena. Enlarging the future, broadening the perspective, broadening the possibility of the future. As soon as you forgive yourself, as soon as you forgive others, almost creating an opportunity for there to be more growth, for it to be something larger instead of a contracting away from, opening up to. I think of me, I think of the me that people see when I'm interacting with my surroundings. It's a me that I don't see as clearly as others may. And everyone's perspective is correct in a way, right? Exactly. So they are technically seeing you, right? In the same way that you would be seeing yourself in a photo pointing at myself. They can see you. And they can point and say, like, this is Jovan, this is Mel, this is Shannon. And they can be like, yeah. And in doing so, they would be conceptually right. But it's impossible, even for ourselves, to point to a version, a part, a character of ourselves and be like, this is me, right? And then technically, we'd like to do that. Zodiac signs, archetypes, previous lives. Those are the common ones. Trying to point at something and be like, this is me. And we can get close, but you are infinitely unique. This version of you gets to be beautifully you for the first time ever, and yet has been, will be infinitely more times still. And yet within that infinity, you get to be this version of yourself now. You can be, you can do some whack shit like that just because. Just because you want to, because you get to choose to. Free will and forgiveness. I agree, Sena. Forgiveness makes the present much lighter and easier to go into the future. Thank you, friends, for forgiving yourselves. For forgiving all of these layers of self that you've been. For not being this version of yourself that you are. Realizing that this version of yourself that you are will in turn be a layer of you that you're becoming. Forgiveness, gentleness throughout that entire process. I'll like this because I don't know how much data I have left to keep streaming. Circles within 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 circles. Layers. Billions. Billions and billions and billions of molecules being inhaled. Some of them passing the slime barrier, single cell barrier, literally a single cell barrier in my lungs, into my bloodstream, rushing to all of my endocannabinoid receptors, of which I probably have billions as well, hundreds of millions, bonding with them, creating this experience. Noises in my background, hearing my family speaking, the exact position I'm sitting in right now, looking at the trees, birds and bugs. So many variables to create a moment. And it's so easy for us to find fault in this moment instead of just seeing the beauty. There's so many layers. There's so many layers that it takes us away from what we actually are. Melt away the layers, dear friend, and find yourself, the version of you that you've always been. On what side? And it's such a beautiful morning here in San Diego. And the sun is in my eyes. But oops, the sun is in my eyes and it feels so good. In moderation, dear Sena. I know that you'll take care of yourself, friend. Thank you for sharing the idea, the feeling of sun on your face with me all the way here in South Africa as the sun is setting. Good morning, friends. Dear Maxine is here again. She's saying that I'm in the background lurking, dealing with spine and walking issues. I see Maxine walking with strut, like straight up, almost like there's a hop in her step. Walking through life, spine super flexible, strut, smile on her face. Thank you, dear Maxine, for joining us, friend, for letting me see you. I've been to San Diego. I don't recall 3 suns though. I was also like 3 suns. That sounds pretty sick. Can sorry, dear friends. I think one of my siblings turned on their hotspot, but not their data. So for some reason, my phone connected to a deadline. I think we should be back. I'm so sorry for the instability. I meant to spell the not three. Yeah, I think I got it. Thank you as well, saying it's beautiful though. Three suns. I mean, it brought up the imagery in my eye for a moment even. So I appreciate it nonetheless. Again, Gab, love you, dude. Good luck, man. Father Dan is joining us too. Sending love to all of our dear friends. Thank you. Who needs tears? So nice having you here. You're the city energy. Thank you for the magic. Man, I don't think I have my magic wand actually closed right now. Thank you for setting power of yours. We are new every day, every moment. I just chose life. I just died. I'm choosing life. Dead. Living. Decaying. Expressive. Defeated. Right? Ceaselessly. You're ceaselessly being reborn, being renewed, actively choosing to be alive right now. Y'all are revitalizing. I love you as we love you too, dear Joe. Thank you for loving us, for letting us love you too. Okay, I think I'm gonna get a little bit more to the moment. Who needs tears? It's not a failure. It's just the first and second or third attempt. Yes! Fail 10,000 times. 10,000 times, 10,000 times. And with every single failure, become better, grow, become more. Considering time is relative, not linear, does that mean that we can be reincarnated in the past and in the future? I actually believe so, Sena. You know, and it's interesting to me that you asked that because it feels like a problem that I've been trying to solve in a way as well. This question of linearity. You know, linearity in the context of being born in the future or past, and if that says something about you, you know, like I've had this question as well of if I am a certain version of myself, like if I'm my dad, for instance, let's communicate in that way. If I incarnated as soul, as my dad, believing what my dad believes, seeing the world the way my dad sees the world, and as a result of that, birthing me, a version of self, seeing the world the way I see it, am I continually more advanced than him because I was born after him, because I was informed by all of the things he was informed by, yet gets to be reinformed by the whole new system of things. And in doing so, get to grow more, get to be more. But is there, I believe that soul lives outside of time. So when soul becomes a part of the moment, no matter where in past or future, it will always just be this moment in the way that it's always this moment. It's never not been this moment, right? It's a whole trip. It's never been anything other than this moment, and we're all simultaneously past and future over the entire universe, over the entire multiverse universes, simultaneously existing in the now. That now being facilitated by the awareness thereof. That without awareness thereof, there is no now. You know, it breaks my brain. So yes, Sena, I believe so. I believe so. I like to think we're always existed tied to that time and era that we continue to exist in every lifetime, and we grow and we expand ourselves. I don't know. What do you think? I also don't know, Sena. I also don't know. All I do know is that we are connected. You know, not only to this planet, but to one another in an intrinsic, unfathomably special, divine way, I believe. You know, the fact that we are using our technology in this way to connect with one another, to connect with friends, instead of to sigh, like sigh, sigh is the Afrikaans word for sow. You know, instead of sowing more panic, instead of sowing more fear, more conspiracy, more deliberate worry about the future and the reality that we're going into, to do the opposite. You know, and to do the opposite, not from this place of I am this and you are that, but to do the opposite of realizing that you are all of it, and that from this moment onwards you get to choose which side of it you want to be, having been informed by all of these versions of yourself, having all of these versions of you that you've been, angry, sad, deceitful, lustful, right? Add all of these, oh, I shouldn't be that words there. Not demonizing it, not running away from it, not pretending it doesn't exist, but in a genuine and a compassionate way to look at it, to be with it, to accept yourself for it, to forgive yourself for it, and to from this moment onward to choose what you want to be, to choose which version of yourself you want to bring into the world. And in doing so, you bring that version of self into the world, right? Not only on a physical version of yourself, but on a metaphysical version of everything, right? Like you showing up as a loving entity in the world almost makes the world a loving entity showing up for you. It's the infinity paradox, you connecting with yourself, environment and you completely being intermingled with one another at all times. You're right, Joe. I think maybe I had the expectation of success in the first try. We tend to do that, who needs tears? Like we really tend to do that. And not only do we tend to expect success on the first try, but we expect extreme success on the first try. Like we want to sit down for the first time and do something on an expert level. And anything less, we hate ourselves for. It's like, oh, I'm gonna try and write a book. Writes a few pages. Oh, this isn't the best writing I've ever read in my entire existence. Writing must not be for me, we tell ourselves. Keep showing up. Is it dead? I hope not. I hope not. It might have been dead for a moment. I see you again, dear friends. I think I missed a few again. We are new each day. Thank you again, Sam. Beautifully said. There's no failure. We fall, merely a step. I couldn't agree more. Twas the process of progress, tears. You got this. Oh, yes. You made me smile, Joe. You're right. Joe, yeah, such a beautiful and warm presence. I appreciate you being here and loving us, letting me love you. Thank you, dear Joe, for sending so much love. So much love to the YouTube friends. Thank you, Ramler, for joining us here as well. I'm sorry for the Reddit dropping. Our internet is dead. We're running on mobile data right now. I need it for my bunghole. TP, that is. Yes. I mean, having TP is definitely a luxury that we take for granted as well. You know, just having softened paper by the roll that you can buy. You know, instead of having to go and scrounge nature for a tuft of grass or whatever. So blessed to have toilet paper. Yes, I appreciate the encouragement, Jovan. All you friends are so amazing. We're a reflection of you who needs tears. You're the amazing one, friend. We're just trying to show you how much amazing you are worth of receiving, you know, from the rest of the universe. We love you. Melt, you seem to be in an odd mood today. More introspective, maybe. Yes, I'm missing your dimple smile, realizing that our moods are on a spectrum and that you is now as valid as ever. I mean, I spent some time with pretty hectic information again today. You know, just infinity. Like a lot of infinity. More infinity that I guess I was comfortable with upon reflection. So much. You know, staring into the eye of infinity and screaming. But not looking away. I feel like that right now. And that has been this process, you know, that's what we've been showing up for. So it's not necessarily a bad feeling. I'm not feeling bad. I'm not feeling sad. I am feeling introspective, you know. I'm like, yes, what am I feeling? What is there to feel? What is feeling in the first place? How much have I felt? How much will I continue to feel? Too much. Too much sometimes. But I know you go through the same, Joy. Thank you. Thank you for being so, you know, intuitive, for seeing me, for feeling into the energy as well. I hope that I'm still giving good vibes though, you know. Like I am definitely uncomfortable with struggling. You know. Oh, wow. Big surprise, Melt. You don't like to struggle? No. I in fact don't. I struggle so much you would think I like it, but I don't actually like it. So the fact that we can still be present, still be loving despite the struggle, it makes me happy, Joy. That's what we're here for. It really is. You know, it's like a almost like we're saying something to the universe. You know, you cannot point to the universe and be like, "Hey, universe, can I tell you something?" Universe gets closer to you, grabs universe the back of the head, grips their hair a little bit. Fucking love you, universe. Love you so fucking much. Universe is like, can you not be so intense, please? Right? So we can't do that. So we just have to do it this way or whatever. do it with like with extra steps. Not so for very long. I bound myself to the ideas that I get from sharing my love with others. Coming here and feeling the raw emotions that swim in these waters has inspired me to have a voice, Brother Bear. And every single time you share it out of love, man. And you know the cool thing about this space to me, like I feel, especially in the outside, in the real world, you know, whatever that means. If there's anything like real, anything like unreal, within the world we find ourselves in right now, this current paradigm, being all lovey-dovey, all grateful, or worshipping of another individual for their contribution is difficult. It can interrupt the flow of things. It can, you know, stagnate things. It can be too much for certain individuals. And I feel within this medium, there is a sense of unity within separateness, right? That we are all tuning into this space from the comfort of our own homes, from our own, you know, workplaces, from our own fractal, from our own being, having a mobile device or whatever. Like that is it's a new version of community. You know, it's quite interesting. Community that is decentralized. Decentralized community, you know. Nobody has a monopoly on the community because we're everywhere. That's the truth. So Joe, we love you, dear friend. Thank you for letting us. Marv, I hope you are having a good morning despite your TP issues. I mean, it's not that. Hopefully, it's not that far away, Marv. A good morning to your friend. Maybe it's time to go water. Yes, that's why I love telling people to connect with themselves first, then fix the world. We can't fix our problems if we're broken inside, but don't lose hope. Instead, gain positive perspective on life. Broken inside. I feel instead of saying broken inside, just perpetuating bad patterns, right? Like versions of yourself that you've been. Like maybe there's like a perfect version of yourself is like a whole sphere, where a lacking version of yourself can be a sphere with some holes in it. And then you add another layer of self, another breath, another moment, you eat something, right? Like there's another layer of you. But these holes that you were unwilling to reflect on and fill by taking attention, taking interest in yourself and the things that bother you and the thoughts that you've been perpetuating and that you know don't serve you. And in filling these holes within yourself, the layers that you're going to be building upon will be more whole, you know, instead of just perpetuating the gap. Maybe slowly but surely filling it up, but instead of slowly but surely filling it up, to pay attention to it, to be like, yes, I pay attention to this pain point, actively putting the sand of time in it. I look at you. I'm working on this. Nobody can fill your holes other than you. Yes, I stand by it. Only you can fill your own holes within self, you know. Only you. Because nobody can know. Nobody can really know what you need, you know, what you've been through, what you've experienced, what you had to do in order to be here now. And only from that place, you know, can you truly forgive and love yourself. Thank you for choosing to. Morning, beautiful friends. Connor, you're so missed. You're making me miss Jack as well. I'm sure he's there somewhere with Infinity. Yeah, he's having a good time. He's with his beloved. Dudes! Hey, dudes. Thank you, dear friends, for sending love back. The stream has been heavy. Yeah. Not heavy in the hard way, heavy in the grounding. I feel very grounded. I feel like I can't be anywhere else. Ah. On One breath at a time. One breath at a time. A breath within a breath within a breath. A heartbeat within a heartbeat within a heartbeat. Inside of a sphere being larger than the outside of the sphere, containing a sphere, with the inside of the sphere being larger than the outside of the sphere, containing a sphere. Actively participating in infinity. How long have we been doing this? I'm not supposed to ask that question, but it's the one question I keep asking when I get into this mind space. How long? And then the answer is infinite. It's not a how long, it just is. Okay? No! It is. It is. Beingness, you know? Oh goodness, universe, please. Julia Cameron wrote about this in the writing diet. Her method for weight loss, but it works for any bad pattern you're looking to change. Ooh, that sounds interesting. In addition to daily walks, she recommends a journal that you write in when you're tempted to repeat those patterns. Reaching for words leads to solutions, she says. I agree. I feel words make things, emotions, experiences a little bit more tangible because we can see it, right? Instead, like, for instance, something simple like being scared. Some people can perpetuate this experience of being scared about the future, about the hopes they have for the future, about their security within the future. And then they can perpetuate this fear of, will I be okay? Will I be okay? Will I be okay? Will I be okay? And then instead of just mushing over that in your brain, to take a moment to journal, to write down, I have doubts about the stability of our planet, and to see it right in front of you. I can see that there is hope within the friendships I have in my life. I can see that there is growth within my family relationships, within the peers that I spend time with, within the way that I am interacting with the world, within the growth that I've seen all of the layers of myself experience up until this moment, up until this moment. Makes it more tangible, gives you something to look at. Whew. Thank you, Sam, for sharing that with us, dear friend. I'm gonna look her up. Please do, Joy. Oh my goodness, same. I hate the struggles, and I complain about it to myself and God. I'll be like, why do you mess with me? What the fuck did I do in the past to deserve this? Say no, you didn't do anything, friend. You're doing it now. That's the trip. Instead of feeling like you're a victim, realize that you are in fact loved, that you're supported in this turmoil. Instead of like, oh, woe is me, be like, yes, I get to be challenged like this. Multiple hours of outages, complete energy instability, and lack of connectivity during an age where energy and connectivity are the primary sources with which we interface with our world. It's a gift. It honestly is a gift because if I got it to if I had it completely stable, let's say it in so many ways, right? If it was completely stable, then within that stability, I might stagnate. But because of the turbulence, I'm always wow, wow, riding the waves, the bull, the train, the roller coaster, right? And in doing so, you build mental fortitude, this ability to be mushed around within infinity, and still to be like woo, yo, and then other people might get nauseous. They might be like, "Get me off of this fucking ride! Get me off of it right now!" And I'm like, "Dude, we're in it. Woo! Like the biggest issue we'll be facing in the future isn't going to be a lack of any sort. It's going to be too much of all sorts. Trying to find happiness outside of ourselves, having so much happiness to find outside of ourselves, to the point that it's difficult to acknowledge that happiness was never outside of ourselves in the first place. And that we're growing that is what we're becoming better at as a community, as a collective as well. We're teaching ourselves how to be healers and teachers of the future as well. Hope you're all doing well. Infinite love to you all. Love to you too, dear Connor. Thank you for sending love to us, dear friend. How are you feeling? Hope to you too, Rambler. Sam Myers, thank you for this. Just the mention of writing diet has opened my mind to some powerful thoughts of potential healing patterns. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Fred, for reading and for taking it to heart, for letting your mind be open enough so you can feel something. I'm hoping and praying that we all find happiness and love for ourselves. Wait. I hope and pray that we all find happiness and love for yourself because you are a rare, beautiful soul and I love you. Thank you, dear Sena. I mean, I feel pretty happy and loved right now. So, I don't know about you, but I feel your hope has already become reality in this moment. Thank you for sharing that manifestation. Fear is the only thing you should fear, and even that is still missing the point. But yes, I agree, Connor. That's the closest to the point we can get. Still using the word fear. uh, Having control over yourself. Death is the end of the road, one way or another. So, in a way, you should never let it stop you. The world is your oyster. You are it, dear friend. You're conscious. You're conscious. And the only reason you kind of hold on to this mortality thing, and I'm not saying you're holding on to it, no. I'm like talking about us as a collective. The reason you hold on to this mortality thing is because of the continuity that you get as soon as you incarnate as a biological entity. That the universe as you remembers your experiences, becomes informed by your experiences, to the point where it becomes identified with the experience. Hmm? Like a sphere, a perfectly black sphere, held in time and space, maybe in the middle of time and space, would reflect the entire universe on its surface. In a way, technically being the universe. In a way, it could identify as the universe. But never truly being it, right? Everything around you, all of these things you've experienced is you, right? On the most ultimate level. And yet you are, once those things melt away, if all of those things go away, still the same you that you've always been. That same awareness. And that if we could completely remember that part of ourselves, death completely ceases being scary. Because that version of self is infinite, unchanging. It is always the exact same. That's the trip about it. It has this quality to it that is ceaseless, unchanging, ever deep loving, right? That deep compassionate love. Just I love you, right? Like I love you that's deafening. Like I love you that melts everything away that you think is unlovable about you. Everything you think you could, do to fight that love. Anything that you could try and use as a counterpoint just melts away. Being loved. And it's ceaseless. It's here. It's with you right now. Again, I believe the fact of your existence, just being, means that you are so loved that you are. Just think about that. You are so loved that you are manifested into reality so that it can experience itself. Layers upon layers upon layers you. Of you. I've been thinking of struggling, suffering as an opportunity for learning experience. It's been helping me not to get carried away with whatever I'm struggling with. Oof. Thank you for sharing that wisdom, Shan. Sam, sharing as well, there is no death. What seems so is transition. The mortal breath is but a suburb of the life Elysian, whose portal we call death. I agree. There is only a shifting of experience, right? You're going to go from having the human experience to having the next experience. There is no death in the way that we think of it. You know, that even if you lock something in a box, it would decay with an infinite time, go through every single one of its states, eventually becoming the same thing it was initially. You. There is no death, you know, and that's not an encouragement to go and find out. It's more an encouragement to go and actually live your life. You know, once you transcend death, that's moksha, nirvana, samadhi, right? Freedom. Freedom from death. Yes, Meltmore, I totally agree, and I just love how you put it. Dear friend, you're helping influence me. So thank you for helping me put it that way. The struggle helped me realize all that I don't need, releasing that of which does not serve me or mine. Dear Uncle Becky, thank you for actively melting by the bay. So long, so much have been melted away. Generational trauma, dude. I can see you actively melting away generational trauma right now, you know, where we notice these patterns that our previous generations of self, previous generations of parents used to perpetuate unknowingly, even. And we're getting to a point where we're educated enough, we have enough information, access to information, that we can choose not to be the way we've been. And I can see you choosing actively, dear friends. You're making a difference. Do know that. You're onto something there. Through our pressures and struggles, we learn how to gain balance. We learn from a pathway to overcome and absorb our experiences. Right? Perfectly on topic. I love that, Joe. Mojo joining us as well, saying, I feel like if we don't struggle, we wouldn't be here together right now, exploring what really means, what really matters in this world. I agree, Mojo. You know, I feel if we knew everything about one another, we would just notice more and more and more and more and more and more and more synchronicities, layers of self that we identify, have had experience before, that happen to be a part of all of us right now. And that is that way with humanity. You know, we're basically solving for unity. Synchronicity equals unity. Enough synchronicity equals unity, I guess. And now we're trying to sync up exponentially using the internet. So, what you're saying is me loving myself is the reason I exist. Yes. Yes. And that you love this version of yourself so much that you chose to exist as this version of yourself. I've heard this beautiful saying, I think it was Greek or Roman philosophy, that believed that this version of you, the face you chose, is the person you loved most in your previous life. Isn't that a trip? This version of you that you chose, the face you have right now, is the person you loved the most in your life, in your previous life. So looking at yourself every day to see that, it's a whole trip. You're here because you love yourself. I love that, dear Mariah. I love that so much. Me loving myself is the reason I exist. I'll put that in the book of things we're saying. That one resonates deeply. Me loving myself is the reason I exist. So exist with reason and love yourself. Thank you, dear Mariah, for giving me all the vibes. Struggle and suffering is necessary sometimes. We exist for love. It must start within ourselves to spread outwards, Mariah. It does. Can't help. Can't help 7Ks. Why communicate with anyone or anything if self-love is all you need? Because you can love yourself outside of yourself as well, dear Mariah. You can love yourself as the dog. You can love yourself as the trees. You can love yourself as the grass, so beautifully green. You can love another person to see that self within that another person, to as that person grow yourself. You know, to see them as a teacher, to see yourself as the student, to see yourself as the teacher, to see them as the student, to realize in just an interaction of a single person, both of you become more. That you never were less. But then from that place of wholeness, connecting as a whole with another whole, you make infinity. You are infinite as a whole, of course, a circle, right? Still, it's true. But you get to be even more by connecting with others as well. I would rather love than not myself and others. I already love myself. I believe there is no separation in that love, you know, Mariah. So there is only the love of that self, ultimately, the ultimate self that you always are, that you always will be, right? And that you did come here as that self to love another. That just loving that self in the ultimate sense of it, you know, when you're complete unity consciousness, actual unity consciousness, you know everything at all times. You know everything that there is to know now. And everything that there is to know happens now, always. So knowing everything now, always, is great and all, until it's not. And you fracture. You fracture yourself into different fractals of self, and then you embody to not be that, to forget, so that you can remember, and you start all over again. Woo, 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 actual love incarnating as self, as this self, because you love yourself enough to separate yourself from yourself. You know? I know. I really love that self. Thank you, dear friends. I'm gonna pull a card. We're gonna end the stream. I would like to save some data for tomorrow, a rainy day. The creator of all things is love. One, love, dear Rambler. Ooh, receive. Receiving card number 64. We pulled it upside down. I don't know if this card has an upside down meaning. Let's see. You are reluctant to accept your role in the evolution of consciousness. I don't know about that. Am I? Uh-huh. I'm scared sometimes. You know, I sometimes feel unworthy. I sometimes feel like I still need a lot of growing to do. I sometimes feel like I'm not, like, especially the worthiness thing, you know, where I feel like I'm still not wise enough. I still haven't discovered enough to be considered an authority, to be considered worthy of anything like that. Thank you for the call out, universe. Ask for guidance and accept assurance so that you may more fully participate in this important time in the human story. Teach me, friends. You already are. Shan, you're a beast when it comes to the continuity. I love your perspective. Thank you, Joe Schmo, for sharing it back with her, dear friend. Envisioning warm blankets full of bellies for all of you, dear friends. Joe, thank you for giving us. I receive. I allow it. I feel more in love with myself than I had my daughter. When I had my daughter, she is my true love. And I feel so much of myself in her, and I learned the most by becoming a mother and connecting with my child. That's something I'll never get to have, like growing an entity inside of me, you know. And there's a somberness in myself with that as well. But that somberness directly translates into a deep, profound awe and respect for the divine feminine. And I feel my role as the divine masculine is to worship that. At least that's what I'm trying to do. Thank you, Saina, for reminding me. You're infinitely wise and worthy of the love you receive, Malti. You are a blessing to us all. Thank you, dear Connor. I I need to be better. I'm trying to be. I'm actively trying to be. It is totally possible to be both on a journey and exactly where you need to be right now at this moment. Receiving, readiness, and receptivity. The figure is charged with readiness and receptivity. Her outstretched arms and open hand chakras are expressions of trust, openness, and infinite potential. She is a lightning rod and receptor of universal information and infinite wisdom. DNA spirals appear as pillars or antennae in support of her readiness. This card celebrates the transformation that is taking place in our experience of reality and our willingness to shift the separation of duality consciousness to the certainty of our connectedness with all that is. Sacred geometry is one way that information and energy are entering consciousness at this time. You are gaining a greater appreciation for and are participating in the evolution of consciousness. As you continue your visionary path, allow your awareness and understanding of sacred geometry to nurture this evolution. Let this card be a signpost of your willingness to become a beacon of hope and a guiding light for those still caught in the old paradigm of separation. Remain receptive to the message you are receiving and give thanks for your conscious participation. I give thanks. I give thanks for your conscious participation, dear friend. Shifting paradigms right now. Right now, paradigms are shifting because of you, because of what you're thinking right now, because of your presence in the right now. Thank you for giving me hope. Thank you for being the hope we have. Gateway process. Our goblin came through. I saluteth you. Are you back home, dear friend? I'm guessing you might be. Thank you, friend. Gateway. Thank you, friends, for using your light to enhance the time we have here. I love you. We love you too. I'm flying back today. See everyone tomorrow. Okay, so still flying. Have a good flight. I don't know if you enjoy flying. I tend to. I'm like, oh, cool. Hi. I look down. I see sky. Oh, goodness. Just don't break it. Can't be broken, Mariah. It's impossible to break it. There is no separation. No more than a thought away. That we can never connect again in this way, in this space, our entire lives. And then before we die, we're like, huh. Danke, Buddha. Huh, Mariah. Huh, Jovan. Huh. An old friend. And in that moment, bringing that back. The experience. There we go. I got to be back before I say goodbye. Thank you, Malti. Thank you, Sena. Another grateful moment. Thank you, friends. Being grateful with me. To be sharing another moment. You friends empower me actively. Even when we're not in the space. Even when I'm not directly sending messages. I send you messages into the ethereal realm. I hope you receive that. Sometimes I send more than others. Sometimes I send exactly the right amount. Sometimes you do too. Always connected in this very moment. Thank you, dear friends, for having spent some time with me. I look forward to spending the now with you again tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.